Welcome everyone to Umzansi Season 4. We're finally back here, and it's so good to be back in the seat, Patchy. It's been a while. How have you been?
Yeah, that's a very general question. It's been a long time. So I've been a lot of things since,
Okay.
we were last here, but now I'm pretty good. We've got some spicy things up and, we've got a lot to talk about, of course, before we head into all the fantastic action as usual. But as for right now, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
It's always pretty good. It's always pretty good to be here. And PUBG Mobile back at it again. Good to be here casting with you. And season 4, I think, is going to be a very good one indeed. Obviously, we had so many teams come through from the Nkosi Super Cup to join our Mzansi teams. A little bit of shuffles in the Mzansi teams themselves. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be pretty interesting. First up, let's take a look at that schedule just to remind us what's going to be happening today and get into the swing of things as soon as possible. As it is, we've got 3 maps for you tonight. Of course, it's Erangel, Sanhok, and Miramar, the good old cycle that we all know and love. Coming back into it, the start of season 4 is going to be an absolute cracker of one of the best that we've seen so far, because we've had so many seasons up until this point. I think a lot of these teams, that they've shuffled through the ranks. Patchy, they've seen each other out. They sort of know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah, it's a new season. We've got some potential for things to happen. Season to season, there's always somebody who takes the reins. It's been a little while since we've had a super, you know, inter-seasonal dominating champion. So I'm waiting to see who's going to be stepping it up this time around. Of course, we have that prize pool once again, and it is the same as the previous season. So if you don't know what that is, here it is on your screen: $17,500 in total for the PUBG Mobile segment. It's 15,000 of that. So that is just absolutely nuts. Of course, $2,500 going for our FIFA segment as well. So some pretty spicy prizes up for grabs. So if you're not in on this right now, then you're seriously missing out. And by that, I mean, there is a chance that you could be here. If you've got a team, if you've got your PUBG team, your squad that you like to run with, there is a potential for you to get up in here. Of course, not when we are running those fantastic tournaments down there. They've got the Nkosi League that runs. We just had our promotion relegationals at the end of season 3, and now we're here, season 4. It's Mzansi. We're back in the hot seat, and so is Dr. Sid.
Yes. Back in the hot seat and super excited to be here. Let me just tell you guys watching right now, I have missed these two people. I know it's been like just a couple of months, but I just felt like I was locked in a cage. And I just really wanted the Umzansi Esports League to start again. And I couldn't wait. But now that we're back, it's super excitement because there is action going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing a lot of amazing stuff this season, stuff that you can't even begin to imagine. First of all, I know they noticed that the FIFA segment has changed to 22, not 21. So obviously we're going to be waiting till the game mode comes out. So you guys have to chill and wait for that first before we give you that. But it is still PUBG Mobile and the action is coming back. There's some teams that have been doing some amazing stuff. So let's do some great things today. Welcome back, guys. I missed you too.
I love how
It's been a
Dr.
minute.
Sid is repping his brand there. That's a nice tee. I want my own t-shirt just like that so I can rep myself on that one.
I'm gonna send. I'm gonna send them out. But ladies and gentlemen, can I just talk about what we're looking on screen? These are the teams that are going to be battling out for that amazing $15,000 prize pool. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Group A, and this is BBC, Team Unique, Black Clover, Team Somalia, KHK Esports Africa, Rainbow Six Madagascar, and Sincerity Esports. Team Somalia, interesting. They wouldn't happen to be Pain Africa rebranded, would they?
Looks a little
Not,
bit.
not sure.
It looks familiar to me. I see El Chapo. I see Beast there. So it could be. I think you might be on the money with that one.
Okay. Now let's take a look at the teams in Group B.
Mm.
Ooh.
Well, hello, hello, hello. So we've got Ultra 6, Slime 4KT, Rila Insider, Comfy 6, which also looks like another rebranding coming through. Young Thundercats, Fear, Lag Esports, and C Esports coming through for your Group B squad. So, I mean, I'm seeing a few that managed to obviously survive relegation, which is fantastic to see coming back
Mhm.
at it for Season 4.
You're
Yeah, let's
seeing a
not talk
few,
about
are you?
citizens. Yeah, let's not talk about citizens. Yeah, but obviously,
Thank
welcome
you.
back to the Champion Slime 4KT. Super excited about seeing them, and hopefully they don't get distracted and they can give us a great gap this season, because the comeback was so amazing to watch last season. And me, I'm just looking for the team that's going to come and shake the entire table and just scatter the whole place. Hopefully, you know how we were always talking about action from the beginning. I hope the teams come out gunning and swinging this season, as opposed to being more passive as they were in season 3.
Oh man, I'm only slightly sad that Dr. Sid didn't catch my joke. But yes, a strong group coming out of B, and of course, moving on to Group C. It is Aatrox, the Seven Sins, Art of Killing. We've got Fear and Apex, we've got Influence Rage Africa, we've got the Immortals, Toxic Esport, Zero Tolerance Skills, and Rain from Hell. So some nice household names right across the board from each group, but we've also got some new faces and some rebrands dotting the groups here and there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up in this season. Of course, looking at the beginning of the season is always a very interesting sort of topic, because do we see teams really just throwing the fish around and asserting the dominance, or do we see them take a little bit of a more slow approach to try and feel things out and really see what's going on? We'll have
Yeah,
to wait
so
and see.
speaking of Group D, I just want to say I did catch the joke. I just chose not to respond to it. Boom.
Come on, it
Anyway,
was a
since
good
I
joke.
am, yes, it was, it was. Since I'm the Dr. Sid, I'm talking about Group D right now, and that is solo esports. They are not solo, they have a team of 6 or 5, but they're not solo, but they're solo esports. The Magicians, Sidemen, interesting. Natural Killers, the Infinity AF, EXO Redefined, G3 Temper, My Guys, and Black Crystal. Ladies and gentlemen, some very interesting names, some very interesting teams. I cannot wait to see what the new boys are going to bring to season 4. Listen, season 3 was my introduction into the Umzansi Esports League, and I was literally blown away. And looking at what the guys are doing today, right now, I can't even imagine what they're going to be bringing this season. Now, Esme, I know you had some you were involved highly in the Nkosi Cup, so you have some experience in what some of these teams are bringing to the table. What are we expecting in season 4, especially from some of the new teams?
So, I mean, obviously there was quite a few rebrandings, so I'll be speaking about their older names, and we'll obviously update that as we go along. But I mean, some of the teams that we saw coming through from Nkosi was, the Soul Killers, Way of Success, Seven Arts of Killing. We saw them, the Magicians, Guerrilla Esports, Exa Redefined, Aatrox, Race Clan, Yonkers. There was a lot of teams that came through and surprised us. I think the main thing for the Nkosi season last season was the surprising strategies that we kept seeing. We saw a lot of teams really just pulling out things and stunts that I didn't really see in Umzansi, obviously because they were quite risky, might have been a little bit more improvised as they were going through the Nkosi season. It was grueling. It was grueling to see those teams struggle to try and just get a spot for the day. And then when those spots actually came through, it might have not gone the way that they expected it to go. So I think the main take back that I saw from there was the dedication that we saw from those teams. Obviously, to come back every single week after you may have been beaten the previous week, maybe you didn't even get through to the actual Nkosi Cup that week, coming back, registering again, and it's great to see that the teams that stayed so consistent and really put in that effort have been rewarded with their spot in Umzansi. And I'm keen to see, if they're going to be keeping to those risky strategies, or if they're going to be, switching it up, maybe going for a little bit more of a safer play. We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Pachi, thank you, Esme. Pachi, what are you looking forward to this season, and how would you advise some of the teams to come out, especially in these first rounds?
I think people expect me to say what I'm about to say, but I think this is like the consistent thing that I'm always on about. Like, you got to come out of the gate swinging, man. You really do. it's the only, in my opinion at least, it is the only way that you can get comfy super quick. If you go in hesitant and you don't really know, and you're trying to find your footing, and you're not making some decisions, like, you're gonna fumble, you're gonna stumble, or you're just not gonna find your groove quick enough to actually compete. You're not gonna find yourself as high up the list as you want to be. Just go out of the gate swinging, man, because you're gonna make mistakes, right? Like, you're gonna be tripped up at some point. You're not gonna just be the best all the time straight off the get go. We haven't really seen anything like that before. Even the best teams of the old seasons, put the work in to be there, and the consistency comes from the fact that they were just so confident, and that's what you need to have coming into the season. Just bring that confidence, go for it. If you know that your play style is like, yeah, we like to go in and fetch the guys out of this position, we take that position, we do this, do it again, just go for it. Just make it happen. Like, you'll get used to it as you go along. You can change your strats as you go along, you can adapt as you go along. Just go for it straight out of the gate, swinging, go for the fights, go for the kills, make it crazy. Get all that out now so that you can get a move on and actually get what you need to do done. So yeah, for me, it's just don't even be scared to fight.
Yep. So we are looking, and I'm definitely looking forward to some explosive openings and things really going at it. But as we normally do, ladies and gentlemen, this is that time when I step away and leave you guys in a very, very, very capable hand of Esmery and actually I will talk to you through all the action that is in Umzansi Esports League. Ladies and gentlemen, this is season 4.
Woo! Season 4, map number 1. It's Erangel, one of 3 out of today's maps, of course. We're starting straight off the bat. We've got our flight path taking us from the bottom of Lipovka all the way to the bottom of Primorsk. A very interesting flight path, one that we haven't seen for some time. Nice and down south, which we very much enjoy. We've got BBC already dropping over to Milta Power as they do, so nothing too strange there. We've got some standard stuff coming out of the teams, which is good. That means they're feeling comfy. They're feeling ready to hit the ground running and get those guns rolling, get those shots flying. We're going to see some teams heading down to the military island as well, so that makes me happy.
Patchy points are being given out today because there are teams that are going to your favorite spots. But yeah, I'm happy to see that the path is actually a little bit more interesting. What we're seeing, oh, that zone is going to be a little bit of a rotation coming through. We know it, we love it. The zone being and doing what it does best, and just throwing a thorn in the sides of all of our teams competing today. So some rotations are seriously going to need to happen early on, I think, especially for the teams, unfortunately in those patchy point areas there towards the military base, maybe towards the lower side of Quarry. They're going to have to make those rotations early on, but hopefully we'll be getting some good loot for them. There might be a little bit of contention there between Sin and Young Thundercats, so we'll see how that ends up being, because those rotations, as they do need to be early, it does mean that these teams might be running into into each other, and it's just going to be an outside brawl from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel sorry for anyone down there in the military island. You get the patchy points, and you can feel confident that you are the smartest players in this lobby right now. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't care. I know that this scenario here is exactly what the patchy points southern military island drop gets criticized for. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care about that. Rotation's good. Get your loot going and just get that rotate on. Hit the gas super quick. It's not a problem. It's just it's not a problem. Just rotate. It's just easy.
Patchy just wants you guys to drop at Milta. That's all he wants.
Exactly.
He's going to justify it however he justifies.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to see some very close proximity teams right here. Hopefully they get into action nice and quick, but you can see that loot is going, making sure they're ready to engage. Mini 14's already in the hands of the Superior, so... And it looks like we've got Trip, who's actually tripping himself up, and just getting some spicy things happening there. You gotta really watch out for those pebbles and rocks in the path. They can really set you back. If you're so focused on getting the helmets and the guns, you'll miss the rock and you'll just trip and scrape your knee, and you just don't want to be in that situation.
No, we don't. We can see already a lot of the teams grabbing those vehicles and making some quick rotations. I mean, Patchy, what's interesting to me, right, is we've got so much of the map, obviously, that's quite empty, and I think a lot of the teams have picked up on that. So not only are they making an early rotation, but they're actually jumping to those spots immediately, grabbing themselves a spot in the zone that hasn't been, looted, hasn't been touched. Because I mean, the entire northern side of that island is basically free game for anyone that gets there early on. So if some of the teams, can actually manage to take those spots, they're going to have entire buildings, entire areas that they have to themselves, nice and peaceful, get themselves really set up in this loot phase. And whew, I mean, this loot phase was looking pretty nice, but as I say that, I see a Rainbow Six, and I see a few other teams that are quite close to each other, and looks like we might be seeing that fight breaking out immediately. 15 teams as we start this, so we need to keep an eye on that counter.
Ooh, that's not a great position to be in. No body armor, no helmet for Gojo. He's just going to get taken down immediately. Prime off in the distance, no assistance from him. So, of course, it looked like they're just going to win that fight nice and easy. Zeke keeping a watchful eye in towards that direction, but it looks like Prime's just going to hit the car and get the heck out of there, which is probably the smartest decision at the moment. I think a lot of the teams at this point can probably infer the fact that the northern part of the map is very open and free right now, so those rotations are slowly starting to trickle in. I like the fact that the teams did commit to the early looting instead, because that means that they were at least preparing for a fight, because they realized that the proximity of a lot of the teams was very close. A lot of the time you'll start to see some of the teams, they just hit the ground, find the nearest vehicle, and just, book it all the way to the top of the map, which is fine. But yeah, I don't know. I like the mindset of being prepared and getting themselves, in the mindset to fight earlier on, which is good. Hopefully we see a few more of those early fights breaking out before we progress towards the mid game, because as we know, if you don't take those fights early on, they become more and more difficult as time moves forward, until the point where you just get to the end game and everything's chaos again. And we don't like that, guys. We don't like that. I'm just going to say it a third time for reinforcement. We don't like that. Don't do it. All right?
We
Don't
don't
do
like
it.
chaos? I thought we love chaos.
See,
Don't we want chaos?
chaos is fun, but it doesn't get you consistent dubs. It doesn't
No,
get you
of course.
consistent dubs.
I mean, for the teams, they don't want chaos. They want to control as much of this map and this game as they can. And like you mentioned, we haven't actually seen any team wipes as of yet. So as this first zone does move in and it closes up, there's still a lot of teams in that small area. Then that area is getting smaller and smaller. And if they don't whittle those numbers down, yep, it's going to be chaos. And for the teams that are trying to stay consistent and definitely trying to start season 4 with an absolute bang, it's not going to be the best opportunity for them, or the best strategy, as I can say it, to take. So yeah, Rainbow Six, though, even though they took that initial fight, they still got the team up. The team is still alive. The team is still managing to secure those placement points. So that is, I mean, another part a big we saw, for the points picking up. Obviously, kills really helped out, but for some of the teams, the main thing was their positioning. We kept speaking about it, especially in those promotion relegation matches, Patchy. Rotations. The teams that were setting themselves up the best were the ones running away with the points.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you look at historical success of the teams that really do the best, it's the ones who are able to position well and also for the kills. It's not something we see all that often, because it's not that easy to do. But just to throw back to the early days of Temper in the earlier seasons, we used to see that coming out of them pretty frequently. They knew where a lot of the teams liked to go. They knew where a lot of the rotations would come through. They were very, very familiar with the common movements from where the teams would drop. For instance, we often talk about, oh, where does this team drop? Like, oh, BBC likes to drop Mill to power, right? But it's not necessarily always about where the team drops, but where they go after they drop, right? If BBC drops Mill to power, what are the chances they rotate through Milta, right? Pretty high, depending on where the zone is. So you kind of know where they're going to come through. And if you can isolate where a lot of teams generally all come through, you can actually camp that spot and get a lot of teams passing you by, and you can get some free kills. And that's what they were doing back in the day. That's kind of the big strat there. So if you get positioning, right, and you get kills going, you bump yourself up the placements and you pick up the kills. That's huge. That's exactly what you want. That's how you just skyrocket straight up the leaderboard.
It's absolutely that. I mean, some teams take the strategy where they'll look for those early fights, maybe drop double with a team in the same area, get some initial picks, and then set themselves up. They get those initial kill points, and then they play positioning. They play whatever comes their way. Because obviously, if you get into the zone early on, it's not like you're going to be avoiding fights forever till the end of the game. You're definitely going to run into someone at some point. So setting themselves up, I think, has been setting a team up properly and setting and making sure that they control as much as they can has absolutely been the most important parts of the strategies that we've been seeing. And that's where the Nkosi teams sort of throw a wrench to that, because they've been the teams that have especially been opting for those out of the box, strategies that we haven't been seeing. I've been seeing upside down cars parked in the zone, and teams haven't been checking the cars, because why would you be checking an upside down car? Lo and behold, there's the entire team sitting, laying in wait and just watching you, which is creepy, but also an interesting strategy.
I like
and
it,
obviously
though.
it's interesting, right? I mean, that was some of the highlights from Corsi. I do hear some fights already starting off, so we might be seeing those team numbers dwindling down. But with the second zone coming in, I'm still seeing all 15 of our teams alive and standing, Patchy. That's insane.
It is, and it's going to get even more insane as things progress. I mean, keep your eyes on that map right there. You can see Black Crystals moving in just to the north of Rozhok. We've got a couple of teams moving in from the south as well, congregating in towards the middle of the zone, which we like. It means more fights, but certainly things are going to get very, very spicy very quickly. As you mentioned, so many teams alive at the moment. I mean, you're bound to just run face first into somebody at some point. So I guess the question is, who is going to be the first to fall? We'll have to wait and see. But as for the crazy strats, I love to see it. I love to see out of the box play, and I'm really hoping that we see a little bit of that incorporated into the season. And really, when it comes down to it, I think that it's not something that you should be relied upon as a staple strat. It's something that really comes as a result of practice and consistency with your staple strat. So if you can do the normal strategies really well, and you can sort of subsist on your own as normal relatively well, then you can pull something crazy out of the hat that's unexpected, and try and do something different in a clutch moment that really turns the tide of the game. That's the kind of stuff you like to see. That's what we could see really just throw a wrench in the works of how we expect the season to go and how we expect the games to play. So I'm really hoping we see something like that. I mean, I remember a couple of seasons ago we were seeing like really, really great hide and seek champions just doing some crazy stuff like hiding in a bush and like, yeah, we see teams just jump into a boat and go all the way to the top of the map and just circumnavigate the map 360 degrees. Like we've seen crazy stuff. Hopefully we'll see some again.
I do see, sorry, more puns coming with C, and we have a team called C. So, it's just, I can see the puns coming through the season, but it's okay. It's okay. We're going to move on. What I did want to mention is that Rainbow Six once again is finding themselves under a little bit of trouble this time. Sin once again putting in the damage here into Rainbow Six, and I mean their numbers are dwindling. We already had Gojo go out with that initial fight that they took early on. Now we had a knock coming through again. The res is there thankfully, and they're getting themselves set up with meds, but that zone coming through is going to cause a little bit of trouble, because look at all of this open space that they have to deal with all the rotations. And to add to that, it looks like the young Thundercats might be rolling up on them and adding a little bit of spice to that situation quite early on. Still 15 teams in this, as that second zone is closing up and teams are making their rotations as swiftly as possible. It does mean that, these teams, unfortunately, their paths are going to cross. And if it's going to be a three-way battle between Sincerity, between Rainbow Six and Young Thundercats, we might be seeing some teams dropping finally, Patchy.
Well, hopefully we do. It's about damn time to see some of that happening right about now, I think.
Guys, Patchy's getting a little bit tired of this.
Yeah, look, Zone's already moving in again. Come on, let's go, let's go. It's time.
But there's something to be said. It's the first day, for a lot of these teams. They haven't seen some of the other teams that came through from Nkosi. Might be a little bit more wary of them. Obviously, have done their research. So, this is
throw the research out the window.
They're feeling each other out.
No, you could feel each other later. Get a room. This is the lobby. This is where we want to see the shots happen. We've got guns, we've got lead, we've got triggers. Just put the lead in the guns, pull the trigger. Let's go. Put the lead into the people, get the kills, get the wins, get the chickens. We need some elims happening right about now. We've already got the zone rotation in towards zone number 3. It's moved all the way to the east. We've got aimbot scoping the situation, spotting a couple of enemy teams driving in the opposite direction. Chris right at the back of the squad in whatever vehicle that is. And everyone's pouring in from the west and the south, as they do, of course, since the zone has decided to be a little bit cheeky with that rotation over towards Rozhok. Hopefully, we start to see the gatekeeping happening pretty soon, because I swear, if all of these teams manage to squeeze inside the zone and nobody goes down, I'm going to be angry.
We've had one person go down. Oh, okay. Ooh. We're getting some action here. Young Thundercats. Ooh, Young Thundercats flinging themselves out of cars. Unique coming through and putting the pressure in immediately. You can see so many teams crossing paths as they try and make themselves through to that third zone, to the safety of that white zone, to get away from the blue, and the damage is just being dealt. Lag Esports just holding down that rotation as cars try and get through, as people try and get into safety. Is not looking too great for them. There's cars exploding, there's knocks happening left, right, and center, and a lot of damage being dealt. But so far, still 15 teams, Batchy. Still 15 teams.
Still 15 teams. We'll see how long it lasts, though, because if it lasts any longer, I'm going to be shaking my fist. You can't see it, but I will be shaking my fist. We'll see. We'll have a look. Superior going to be going down, and Broly also going to be biting the dust a little bit. Louis going to put the shots in, so we are seeing some toe-to-toe action here. Or hopefully, Aimbot and the rest of them can, maybe move a little bit closer towards Lag. Maybe put a couple of shots in there. Dagger looking for a few pot shots, but his crosshair is just a little bit off. But I like the enthusiasm. I like where the mind's at. It's good. Take the shots. Rather pull the trigger than don't pull the trigger. Mr. Patchy's wisdom for the day. Unless you're snaking it, then don't pull the trigger. Then it's probably better to just chill.
Well, I mean, looking at that, they're throwing shots where they can, because look where Black Clover have found themselves. They're dead center of the zone as it stands currently, and they are utterly surrounded by teams. Everyone is so close and personal at this moment in time. It's just going to get worse, because that third zone is just about to close up, and we can see KHK also coming through, and again putting some pressure there onto the Young Thundercats. I feel like they've just been rotating into shots after shots after shots, and that zone has finally made a statement. It said, listen guys, I need you to finish this now. I can't. It's getting to that point where I can't close any further, and we still have the entirety of all of our teams still alive and running around looking for those fights. I mean, Fia making a beautiful rotation in, finding such a beautiful spot there to just stay safe and stay ready for the fights that are about to break out, because you were right, this is going to be chaos. This is absolute chaos. We've got some teams, some players knocked, but everyone just in their cars safely driving into zone, and now the fights are really going to have to start.
They certainly will, because right now, as you can see on your screen, we've got KHK rolling up towards Unique. We've got Sincerity down towards the south that need to make their rotation. We've got C off towards the east moving up. There's the Elam. Finally, we see a team go down. It's Rainbow Six. They're going to get taken out there, which is at least going to be an Elam for us, moving us down to 14 teams, but certainly not going to be the last to go out, as the engagements will continue here. We've got Keish looking for a couple of shots towards KHK, just firing the warning shots like, no, we're here, you can't come this way. We've already got this part of the zone covered. The thing is that I'm looking for is to see what's actually going to happen towards the east as well. That's going to be very interesting. Here we've got the little bit of gatekeeping, and I'm assuming we're going to see that towards the other side where BBC is, because if they dig in, we know it's going to be a little bit crazy. So let's have a look. Unique taking a couple of shots here, seeing if KHK has the guts to challenge them at this position, because if they want that spot, they're going to have to push up, or otherwise they're going to have to rotate aside. They're actually going to go down. So that's already a bit of damage done towards KHK. They're going to have to reassess their situation and see exactly how they need to approach this problem, because it is a problem, as that blue zone has started to move in very, very quickly.
Yeah, they still need to get themselves into a little bit of safety, and they're going to have to run through a couple of teams. And right behind them, it's Lag trying to find a couple of shots here. But Pennywise, he's aware, he's ready for it. And I mean, as some of the team here of KHK is a little bit split, they had to leave Lewis behind, and now they're just trying to get a little bit of revenge, get some kill points to set themselves up. Still have 14 teams in this, so at this moment in time, those kill points are not only crucial to getting a good start for the first season, for the first game of Season 4, but also just to provide some safety and a little bit of peace of mind to the teams that are in this utter chaos as the nades get primed and ready. They're going to be popping at the moment, and the shots are just raining in. Unique just trying to stay alive. You can see so many teams, so many players in the red with that HP, and oh no, Pennywise going down. I just said you're aware, and now you're making me look bad here, man.
Oh.
KHK going out for the counts. Unfortunately, the sandwich was a little bit too stuffed here, and it looks like Lag might be the next team to drop out.
That was a spicy sandwich that we had going here. Absolutely. KHK trying to play safe, trying to play smart. And they got sandwiched, they got slaughtered, they got taken out. Now True rolling up right on the back end as well, right up towards these players. One trying to hold down the fort behind the tree, but it's too many players, it's too many shots. He can't make it happen. Too much damage. Down he goes. And Lag looks like they're going to be the next one to be subject to their own sandwich. Up comes Broly, ready to make it happen, and this is really giving you a taste of your own sandwich, as it were. Fantasy, the last one, not going to be taken alive for this one. He's going to have to go down.
Stop talking about food here, Patchy.
Well, you know, they might not be food, but certainly they are cannon fodder, and they get sent back to the lobby as well. 12 teams remaining, as now Unique taking a fight against Broly, who's heading the charge in a little triangle here, but that zone has already moved up to the north and put some pressure on. 35 seconds before they have to make another move.
That's an unfortunate situation here. Young Thundercats really just finding the best time to just roll up and take some kills for themselves. You can see Squeak and Broly there from the Comfy Cartel, or the Comfies coming through, holding on to this one. So, I mean, actually, that's a member of Young Thundercats, but with the members of Comfy Cartel. So, once again, their names are lying to us, Patchy. It's actually, I actually think that's the Comfy Cartel coming through here to give a little bit of surprises, where the real Thundercats are still alive in this and maybe taking a couple of pot shots there across from the map. I mean, 5 zones in, and now really we should be seeing a lot more action coming through. I'll be under a little bit of pressure here as Broly is getting taken out and being thirsted at the moment. Those final shots should be connecting. But you can see just the rest of the team trying to scramble, trying to either get out or maybe go for a cheeky res, as Unique is now starting to feel a little bit of the pressure with those teams getting involved. It's just gunfire every single way, where you're looking at it, where you're listening. Everyone can get involved and third party these fights, which means those teams are going to start dropping as we go to 11 teams. You can see rotations really have to be crucial here. Some of the teams already set up 4KT, prime position right now for them to just sit back and look at what's happening around them. BBC unfortunately going out as well. So, the chaos, Patchy, the chaos ensues.
I said this was going to happen. I warned them that this would be the outcome, and now here we are, 10 teams remaining, 33 players left alive at this point. We already have some chaos breaking out all over the place. Mojo trying to lay down the shot straight through the smoke. Does a little bit of damage though, but everyone is just feeling the heat, feeling the pressure. Coco goes down, 4KT taking a little bit of casualties as well. It's a little bit unfortunate. They're still on the board though, and as you mentioned, they are in a pretty okay position, so we might just see them come out on top depending on how this pans out. They have a lot to deal with though. There's a lot of teams that are right up ahead of them, but the cover is looking absolutely atrocious. There are rocks, there are trees, but that is it. The teams have to pop those smokes, they have to work around the rocks, they have to work around the hills, and they just have to go for whatever they can find. Nukes just absolutely nuking some teams out of existence there. A nice explosion going to send J-Roller straight back to the lobby along with the rest of the team. 9 teams remaining at the moment. Trip getting himself healed back up as that blue zone starts to sneak up behind absolutely everyone and just create a whole bunch more pressure. Now we do see that there's at least 1 compound still remaining. The Black Crystals still have control of that, but how much longer is the question, because that zone has moved north again. No more cover for you, Black Crystals. You guys have got to move up super quick.
Ooh, look at this now. 8 teams remaining in that 5 zone. And I mean, at this moment in time, it's just moving up closer there towards 4KT, who once again, they have a prime position for themselves. And Young Thundercats, the rotation that they need to make is unfortunately not going to be an easy one. Still 8 teams left, 24 remaining. We'll see how it pans out for them at the moment, where everyone's just trying to find some sort of a path. And 4KT rolling up here, trying to take some teams out early on, and they're going to manage to do so immediately. Trip goes down, last member remaining. Unfortunately, it did some damage though, so might be providing a little bit of help to the teams around them to take out Slime 4KT. But for the time being, they are still in this with only 3 members, I might add. Only 2 are alive right now, but only 3 members from 4KT in this one.
Oh man, that was a cheeky breaky, sneaky peeky right there. That they just moved straight up on that one. 4KT just rolling up, picking up the kills, and well, they're still alive for the moment. That blue zone is rolling in, but they've got some space for themselves. A couple of movements from the teams up ahead of them. There's a couple of scattered players here and there, all around the place. I mean, this is just looking like a danger zone, a death trap. Sincerity gonna get well, a little bit of bullets shot in their direction, and that seems to be the case for a lot of these teams. King getting knocked by a nade under a little bit of pressure from the rest of Sincerity up ahead of them. That zone just being cheeky all game long. It's going to force these teams head to head down into the grass to try and go for that cover. Hulk right up ahead of Easy. He's trying to land the nades, but the bullets will win. But instant clapback health for Hulk going to go down very, very quickly, but he's still alive. 6 teams remaining, 16 players left alive, but everyone is eating the dust right now. They do not want to expose themselves. 4KT doing a little bit of jump across the side along the edge of that blue zone, trying to stay alive and maybe pick up a little bit of a sneaky position. Fex off to the side might just see C, and if he sees C, what else does he see?
Listen.
It will never stop.
Listen. No, listen. Patchy. I can't, please. Okay, I'm gonna move on with that. I'm not, no, shush. I'm not gonna even respond to that. But Black Clover still in this one, have managed to make a real statement tonight as a team coming through and managing to survive from that relegation. They're still in this one and they made it into that top 6, but now they're trying to take some damage here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look too good. Ultra 6 going to be going out for the count. Young Thundercats still in this, but right behind them it is 4KT. 5 teams left, and I think we might be having a little bit of a sneak coming through here as Young Thundercats taking some damage here, but still trying to stay in this. Not for long, though. 4 teams remaining. I believe it's Fear, it's 4KT. We've also got Black Clover still in this one. Woo!
Hey, we know how this is going to go. We know how this
And
is going to
C.
go.
And C.
We know how this is going to go. 4KT, I mean, let's be honest here. You think these guys are going to let it down? You think these guys are going to not surprise us? Absolutely not. Zeus already pulling that trigger super quick. There's a reason why these guys absolutely sped up that leaderboard. Zeus is going to get clapped back, though. Federal not looking to go down without a fight. The rest of the Black Crystals moving super quick to try and make something happen here. Moving around that smoke, moving Madness, trying to get some shots in, but they have to worry about that blue zone, which is slowly moving in. Bruni prepping the smoke, trying to keep the team alive, trying to give them a little bit of cover to work with. Is 4KT going to stand for the insolence? Fex says no. Chris immediately going down as Fear under quite a bit of pressure. Lots of damage being done in towards them. 4KT, they need to pick this one up because they are surrounded right now. They need to make sure they don't go down. Hulk going to go down. Defex is brilliantly placed nade there. And he's just continuing to be on that assault, moving up with the rest of the team. They're looking for kills. They are ready for blood right now. Fex is just looking for one after the other. Bullets flying in towards Fear, but immediately flying back as well. 4KT going to lose one of their members as the Black Crystals on the one side, as well as C trying to put some shots in. Outcast does go down there. Fear also in a pretty difficult position now, down to 3 teams. 4KT getting taken out. Federal hits the deck, as well as the Black Crystals try and put up a fight for their lives. But 4KT still in a good position. They've got a little bit of an incline to work with here, so they're still alive. They're still in the game. C all the way towards the top are slowly creeping forward. But man, this is so much pressure, so much damage, and instantly getting taken down. The last player does fall, and now it's 4KT versus C. Let's see who wins this one.
You're starting out with it already, but so far C actually having that advantage, right? 4KT just managing to stay in this one with only 2 members remaining up against the 3 here of C, who are, towards that red zone. Fex has managed to get a little bit of energy drinks in him and is fully loaded and ready for this fight. But look at the way that C is now currently spreading themselves out. They've got 2 right ahead, head to head against 4KT, with the third trying to get a good flank position here. When those fights break out, they're going to hopefully be ready in a position to take it and help out their teammates. Now it's a situation of who's going to be peaking first, who's going to be taking that first shot. Obviously, see here on the incline, It's going to be looking up towards 4KT with Runin trying to take that flank. And here it is, 4KT making the first move and getting the first knock. Looking to finish it off here. A 2-2 situation here, but 4KT still raining in those shots. And it looks like C is not in a position here. It's the last remaining member. The flank coming through from Brennan is going to be managing to get that knock onto the one, but has to be ready for the second, and he's not going to be. 4KT taking your first map of Season 4.
See, I told you so.
See,
Yeah,
really?
I do see.
You did that on purpose?
I may have.
You did.
But here it is. It's 4KT. It's chicken dinner number one. Of course it is. With 3 members in their squad, no problem. They're going to pick up a clean 10 kills, a clean chicken dinner, or at least a spicy chicken dinner. You don't really want it to be clean, otherwise it's not going to taste very good. But it is very spicy and it's very hot, fresh off the stove. Right there. C is going to come into second place, and of course the Black Crystal's there in third. So we've got some spicy stuff happening straight off the bat to open up our season. We have had quite an interesting start, a very interesting map one, a crazy zone, and well, I'm ready for more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 4. The action never stops. Ladies and gentlemen, Slime 4KT picking up exactly where they left off and doing it in style with 3 members and 10 kills. Listen, the leaderboard is looking nice right about now because the action has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know, this is the Umzansi Esports League. This is Season 4, brought to you by none other than Nordwing Gaming. I'm here, Dr. Sid, Esmari, S-Proxy, and Pachi. We are giving you action. Ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for the MVP and standings. But just to let you know that if you look at the way this action went down today, you would know that you don't play with Slime 4KT. You understand? I'm also happy to see that those guys, see, are they a newcomer? Esmari, they are newcomers, Abi. They just came up from the Nkosi. See, they were in second position.
I saw that they were in second position, yes.
Yes.
But I'm not too sure about the name. We'll have to check it out. Obviously, they have been a little bit of I see C Esports.
You see C Esports.
I see C Esports.
C Esports.
Have you seen C Esports?
Yes.
Actually, please, just no.
I did see C Esports.
Oh my god. Okay, so listen, glad to see Slime 4KT from Nigeria back on the top, especially picking up exactly where they left off. And for me, newcomers in Season 4, C Esports, if that's not a rebrand, then definitely C Esports, and they are from the Ivory Coast. Black Clover from Mauritius, if I'm not mistaken. We have Fear from Nigeria. These are the top 4 teams so far. We have Team Unique from Mauritius as well. In 5th place, Sincerity Esports, Ultra 6, and Young Thundercats 6, 7, and 8 from South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the leaderboards are looking really, really nice in Game 1, Group A versus Group B. Now in 9th position, Rila Insider from South Africa, Comfy 6, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the Comfy Cartel. They're both from South Africa in 9th and 10th place with 5 points each. BBC from Mauritius is there as well with Team Somalia in 11th and 12th position. Lag Esports from Mozambique, if I'm not mistaken, I think. I have to get my flags right, so we have to learn my flags. Yes, and then KHK Esports from Uganda in 14th place, and Rainbow Six Madagascar from Madagascar in 15th place. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the first set of points. Also, let me just be corrected. KHK Esports Africa is from Angola. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I need to get the flag emoji up on my keyboard so I can be sure of what I'm saying. But you can see this is a Pan-African tournament, and we have almost countries from the North, East, West, and South highly represented. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first game, Game 1 of the Umzansi Esports League Season 3. And Patchy, talk to us about our MVP. Who is it?
Oh man, it has to be 4KT. We're coming out there 5 from 4KT or 1995. Maybe it's 1995, but he
1995.
wanted to give us a little bit of a flair on the five. So we've got the true gamer spelling of five, but of course it has to be from 4KT. 4 kills, 998, so almost 1,000 points of damage straight off the bat. 25 minutes, 21 seconds survival time there for your MVP for game number one. We got two more coming up right after this, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because there's some spicy stuff I think that we're all looking forward to.
He is exactly right. Dr. said Patchy and S Proxy will be back after the break to give you some more tea on all the action. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. This is still the Umzansi Esports League Season 3 brought to you by Nordwing Gaming. We are playing PUBG Mobile. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming. No, this is not season 3. I know it was not so long ago, but this is season 4. My name is Dr. Sid, here with the dream team of Pachi and S-Proxy, and we are here giving you all the action that is the PUBG Mobile Tournament. We have just had an exciting time in game 1 of the first match of the season. We are taking a look at the standings as proxy was popping.
Well, yeah, of course, as we'd expect, Slime 4KT, your previous season winners, coming through for the W and the winner chicken dinner of the first game of the day with 25 points and 10 kills. I mean, I honestly, Patchy said himself, always believe in Slime 4KT, but they were at the disadvantage and they made it work for them. So really good work coming through from them. C Esports, a team that we haven't seen in terms of the name. Maybe it's rebrand, maybe it's the Incorsi teams pulling a fast one on us, Patchy, but they came through in second place. They were 17 points. And Black Clover as well, managing to survive relegation, coming through for third place for the first game of the day. Fear in fourth place. Team Unique coming through in fifth. Sincerity Esports in sixth. Ultra 6 in seventh. And Young Thundercats rounding up your top 8 for the first game of the day. When you move on to the second board, of course, Rila Insider coming through in ninth place with 5 points, tied to Comfy 6, with the rebranding coming through for the 10th place of the first game of the day. BBC in 11th, which I know Patchy's not too happy about. Team Somalia in 12th place. Lag Esports in 13th. KHK Esports Africa in 14th place. And Rainbow Six Madagascar in 15th.
Yeah, what can you say, man? I think 4KT is a team to keep your eye on. And those guys are nuts. They tear through the competition. We saw them last season, just going absolutely bonkers. And well, they're looking to repeat that potentially straight off the bat. Starting out with 3 players and still making it work. If that's them operating on, let's chill with 3 players. It's the beginning of the season. I mean, end of the season. I don't even want to see the monster that they become.
Slime 4KT are definitely showing that they are the team to beat this season. But let's see if their strength continues in our next map, which we know is the one that I like because it's CQB, close quarter battling in Sanhok. Esmery, what are we expecting, you know, from this particular map and this action that is going to be happening?
Well, you're obviously expecting a little bit more of a closer the distribution of kills. So I mean, in terms of Erangel and Miramar, you normally have your teams running away with kills. You'd have that one team that was just absolutely farming the lobby. But with Sanhok, because it's such a smaller map, because we have so much close quarter combats, you do tend to find that third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties do become the norm, which means a lot of teams they go in and they steal some kills. Maybe they jump into the action and take the kills, take the team wipes away from other teams. So you generally do see some better distribution of kills, which I think is a good thing, especially with the points some of the teams that need to cash up. It's going to be a good map for them.
So, Pachi, I know a lot of people who watch right now totally watch PUBG Mobile and understand what we're talking about when we talk about Sanhok and being a smaller map. But for the new viewers who have no idea what we're talking about, could you explain exactly what we mean when Sanhok is a different map, sort of describing what it's like and what the fans viewers should expect?
All right, well, if you have absolutely no idea what we're talking about, we're just going to give you a quick run through. I'm going to give you a quick run through at least. We've got 3 maps that are sort of the staple maps that we usually see. We've got Erangel, we've got Sanhok, we've got either Miramar, maybe Vikendi sometimes. But when it comes to Sanhok, what we mean by it's a CQB style map is essentially is close quarters. In other words, the map is a lot smaller than usual. Erangel is kind of like our baseline when we test other maps. Erangel's a pretty decently sized map. It's large enough to be comfortable to move around in, but it's not too small that it's very restricting. Whereas Miramar is on the bigger side. It's a very large map. There's a lot of wider open spaces more of the time. Whereas with Sanhok, it's a smaller map. The overall area is a lot smaller, but there's also a lot more buildings to work with. And you're very likely to run into somebody a lot quicker. So you have to be careful about how you manage your rotations, etc., etc. And a lot of teams get caught out by the blue zone here because it does tend to sneak up on you a lot quicker than you expected.
So, thinking about sneaking up and teams running into each other, we have teams jumping out of the aeroplane as we move into game 2 of day 1 of the Umzansi League. Umzansi Esports League season 4. This is Sanhok, and I will see you after the game.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Sid. Map number 2, it's Sanhok, as I mentioned. It's nice and close and comfy for some of these teams. You know, they can snuggle up and then shoot each other nice and quickly. So hopefully that does tend to happen. Although it's interesting because in a map like this, the real strategic skill comes from the teams that are able to prolong the inevitable as far as possible. And straight off the bat, we've got some fighting. That's what I like to see. Squee coming at it with the shotgun, instantly getting taken down. The UMP dealing the damage. Superior going to get the thirsts as well. So that's Young Thunder already moving in on this one. True going down. Superior picking it up. And Fanny now on the back in, sandwiched between the rest of the players from Young Thunder. Not a really great position to be in, but it's good to see the battles are already happening. And this is what I mean by the Sanhok maps, a little bit faster pace.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's also going from 8x8 to 4x4 in terms of the blocks that you have available. But Patchy, is this not a little bit of a sense of deja vu? I feel like I've seen young Thundercats drop on a team before, you know, in this exact same area, trying to get those early thirsts. And this time around, it's not the team that it was last time, which I won't mention just for the sake. But it's going to be the Comfy Six coming through this time around to try and stay alive. Unfortunately, have already dropped 2 members. So, I mean, it's an interesting way that we're looking at it. Oh, gotta be careful here. Comfy Six down to 1 member. With Benny going down, this is going to be a crucial moment. Otherwise, we might be seeing the early takedown of Comfy Six and maybe a little bit of redemption for the Young Thundercats as they can come through and get so much closer this time around to a team wipe. For the time being, though, we'll have to wait and see if that final knock does come through or if we will still be continuing with those 15 teams just with a little bit less of numbers. But it does look like, oh no. Is Black Clover actually rolling up on that fight there towards Camp Bravo? I think I saw a rotation coming through there.
Might just be. Maybe we're going to see some teams just rolling up straight off the bat, which is, you know, I'm fine with that. Let's have it. Let's get it. I want to see it. You know, the 15 team mark that we're sitting at now, in the next 3 minutes, I want to see those numbers going down already. You know, I'm not going to be content if we don't have early fighting on a map like Sanhok, right? Which I just said was a CQC map, right? We just said this is close quarters. We just said this is fast paced. I want a little bit more of that. I want to see a team getting knocked out. You know, I want to see some sadness and pain and suffering. No, we don't want sadness and pain and suffering. But we do want to see some teams getting knocked out. And that's what I'm waiting to see. Link's getting up here on the roof to see if he can scout out any of the teams right up ahead of him. Just you know, keeping an eye on the competition at the moment. That Bluesen has started to move on into that first rotation coming through. Luckily, that first zone is pretty easy, pretty simple for the teams. You know, just stand where you are, make sure you're looted up and ready to go. Hopefully, the zone is not going to be much kinder than that. You know, at present, you can see on the map there. This is an easy start to the zone for these teams.
Well, the zone was incredibly cheeky there on Erangel, so
True.
maybe it's just giving a little bit of false hope. Maybe it's feeling a little bit bad about the sheer amount of rotations it caused in the previous map. But either way, we should be seeing at least a little bit of a calmer time here in Sanhok. As I say that, though, it's not the case. We do see the team of Team Somalia up against Ultra 6 here already. Miyagi out for the count. And Team Somalia would be extremely elated to go through here, only with 3 members as well. So this is a pretty even fight, 3-3. And at the moment, Ultra 6 finding themselves in a little bit of a back foot. Have to get those meds up and running and just take cognizance of what is happening. At the moment, we do see a little bit of a flank coming through. I mean, Beast is quite distant from the rest of his team. Same can be said. They're 4 nukes. So for the time being, it's just the 2-2 head-on that we should be seeing. Maybe some nades being prepped, but I think both teams trying to get a flank early in, get a little bit of information, and try and turn the situation into their favor.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if it is gonna happen for them. Right now, they're just inching forward bit by bit. Lynx and Mojo right here, ready to receive a potential push. Benji and Kingerman just going to stay on the back, looking to see if there's an opening to push up. You can see Kingerman watching point right off this corner. A couple of shots going through, but right now, no one has decided to dedicate that push. No one wants to commit too hard just yet, which is unfortunate for us because that means we won't get to see the fight breaking out just yet. But at least the tension is there. Kingerman going to be pushing forward, looking to see if he could spot anyone out. Lynx might just be there to receive, though. He is being probed bit by bit. Kingerman just looking for an opening, looking for a gap, a crack in the defenses here. But is he going to spot one out? That's the question. Lynx just happy to chill behind this corner, waiting for Kingerman. He sees him go in, doesn't make the move just yet, and there he is, pops out, takes the shot. Down goes Kingerman, looking for the thirst, but immediate assistance coming through. He does find the thirst, but the rest of the team is coming in, rolling up the cavalry to try and save them. Benji now pushing through the house to try and find the rest of the team. Now on the back foot, Lynx and Mojo have fallen. Nukes now the last one to try and redeem. Benji just clearing things out, making sure they're not going to get wrapped on. And Tommy from Nukes just being aimed off the corner there. The thirst comes through, and there's nothing Nukes can do. He's just looking to find some revenge. Is it going to be enough? No.
Oh.
Benji just too accurate, too quick on the flick. He will find that kill, and the team will be wiped out.
Well, this time we didn't have to wait till 5 zones in to see the first team wipe coming through. So it looks like the teams are, in fact, adapting and changing it up. Obviously, the map being a major impact in the way that these teams are playing in the style. I mean, just look at, oh my goodness, look at the cluster of teams that's happening right in the center of that zone, Patchy. Everyone trying to set themselves up early on, trying to find the optimal place to just set up shop and wait for the rest of the teams.
Yeah, and as we watch those teams starting to congregate there in the center of the zone, they are preparing for some crazy stuff. They know how it goes on this map. I mean, at this point, I guess it's not really surprising. I mean, we know that the zones on this map can be a little bit crazy, and you kind of just want to isolate as much as possible all of those rogue, chaotic elements. Just get into the center of the zone, give yourself a much easier chance and a much higher chance of being in the zone in the next rotation in any case. So they're all just congregating right there, slap bang in the center, except for a couple of teams. We've got Sincerity off to the one side. We've also got Rainbow Six and the likes of KHK dotting around the outskirts of the map at the moment. Just waiting for them to move on up, but they are relatively safe. The zone still nice and big, nice and easy for them to get inside. That's not always going to be the case. We already know that the map does like to do some crazy things. That zone does like to play its pranks on some of these teams, and we've seen a couple of teams getting caught out by the blue time again on this map. Luckily, most of the teams don't seem to want that to happen for them. Outcast keeping a weather eye over towards Lag here from this tower, making sure he's just keeping them honest down on the one side of this hill as they try to make their approach right here behind this rock, looking for some potential picks, but they are stuck in a very difficult position. A really well-placed nade in towards their position might just flush them out and give them a little bit of a tougher time, so they've got to be careful about this, using a tree and a rock for cover. Outcast has spotted the vehicle as well, which might be subject to a couple of shots depending on how the team decides to do it, and Hulk on a little bit of a side, and even Swags moving in to try and get the flank through, maybe trying to pick this team apart here. They've got a nice line of defense trying to attack Lag. Are they going to be able to pull it off though? Fear looking for something, but once again, no one has found that crack in the defense. We do have a knock on the side of Lag, but for now, these teams are just exchanging a couple of shots and waiting for one of them to make a mistake.
I do see Slime 4KT there on the horizon, potentially going to be pulling up onto this fight, and that's exactly what's happening. They're creeping ever so close, not in vehicles though, so they're not making any noise as they are getting right up behind Lag, which does pose a little bit of an interesting question here. Obviously, once again, Lag might be finding themselves in a sandwich that they did not want to be in. So with those rotations coming through, need to be careful. I think they're going to run straight into Slime 4KT. And then Lag, unfortunately, might be meeting their doom. You see Fexia just so close, just taking their time to wind up. And there's the onslaught, there's the attack. The trigger goes through. Fex taking one immediately away from Lag. So that's one member for Lag done and dusted out for the count. And once again, you know, it's the team of 3 versus 3s versus 3s. We've seen a lot of teams actually with only 3 members tonight, you know, for whatever reason.
Sandwich as proxy.
What?
It's the sandwich. The sandwich strikes again.
Sandwich. I did say. And once again, it's Lag. Lag caught in the middle and getting an unfortunate taste of their sandwich. Although this time around, it looks like they came a little bit more prepared. Maybe they got the Soviets set out this time around, did their preparation early on, got the ingredients ready, and Fex does go down. So Fantasy down as well. And what's interesting is Fear is just sitting and watching all of this. Just they can just jump in like they at any moment.
Yeah, I mean that's basically all they've got to do. They saw 4KT rolling up on the backside, and they were like, "Hey, we could just let them do whatever they want there, and we'll clean up whatever happens afterwards." I mean, right now both 4KT and Lag are kind of shifty on the HPs, so you know, Fear just chill and wait for a moment. 4KT and well, Fear might just take each other out to the point where they can just swoop in. You know, Fear could just come down on towards Lag and 4KT and just pick up the pieces. You know, pick up the rest of those kills. Right now, Fantasy taken out by 4KT there. Of course, not going to be able to get rezzed up by the rest of the team. Zero, the last one left. I think he has managed to get to safety, and I don't think 4KT really want to push up on Fear because they've seen the Dug in position, although Zeus has been scoping up towards Swags for some time, waiting for a quick cheeky peek from Swags to maybe put that sniper shot right into that cranium. And we'll see if he can land it, though. He's certainly looking for it. He's keen for it. He doesn't want to retreat until he takes that shot, until he waits for Swags to peek up. There it is. There's the peek, but it's too quick with that Car 98 just quickly peeking up to try and find some shots. But both of these marksmen are currently missing their shots, so no one's really going to take any damage just yet.
Nah, not for the time being. And I mean, they do have to be aware of those third parties getting involved as that next zone is coming through. So far, other than the first team that we saw drop early on, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, KHK also making a slow rotation in, and then it's just one of the last members there of the Comfy Six. And then everyone will be in zone, ready and waiting for that next blue zone to reel its head and let us know where that zone is heading towards. I mean, at this moment in time, it's been pretty even. You know, I mean, this is really where we would be expecting that zone to sort of shift and really cause a little bit of a ruckus for some of these teams, especially depending on where it's going to be going. If it's going closer there towards boot camp or towards Camp Alpha, we might be seeing, or even Paradise Resort, we might be seeing a lot of teams scrambling, going through one another to try and get themselves into safety early on.
Yeah, I mean the chaos is certainly on its way. You know, we could see it coming. It's brewing on the horizon. It hasn't arrived just yet, and the teams have been doing a pretty good job of mitigating a lot of the early problems that one can have with the zone by centralizing themselves, which is something that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. You know, the teams have sort of just naturally tended to do that. It really does minimize a lot of the gatekeeping, a lot of the problems that you can have earlier on in the game. If you get to the middle of that zone a lot quicker. So the teams have really managed to perfect that for the most part. You can see 4KT now making their way down the hill, running into a little bit of resistance. So they are going to have to be careful down here. They've got a little bit of cover to work with, though. Some rocks and trees scattered along the hillside. Zeus looking to line up a shot there. Doesn't hit anything just yet. So there's been a lot of sniper shots flying through from this team here. But they haven't been able to pick anyone up just yet. These teams are very keenly aware of these crosshairs trained right in towards them. Sorry, looking for something towards 4KT, but just keeping a weather eye out, especially considering there are a couple of teams in the surrounding area as well. And with that blue zone closing on up, almost ready to shift again, we might just see things start to get a little bit heated from here on in.
Team Somalia, I do see them moving on in, so they're getting quite close there towards Lag, and I mean, a sandwich could happen there between Unique, 4KT, Lag, and Fear just watching over with Team Somalia getting involved. I mean, that could be absolutely crazy. And once again, that zone just favoring the rest of the teams. I mean, rotations have been so lax, they've been so relaxed. You know, you don't really have to be worried too much because the zone has been a quite easy pathing. I mean, so far, we just might see a little bit of contention there with those initial teams I mentioned, and Black Clover and Young Thundercats now pulling through into the same area here. Of course, I mean, Fear still in a beautiful position. They have easy access there towards boot camp if they do need to make a rotation. And shame, the poor member there from Comfy Six, Broly, just trying to stay alive, gets those placement points, but still 14 teams remaining. With our third zone rolling in, Patchy, this is getting very close at this moment in time. Once again, a lot of the teams just holding out to that final moment.
Yeah, and we're heading towards the breaking point. You know, this can only last for so long until things just pour over, just spill over the edge there. We're just waiting for that to happen. At the moment, the teams are going to be okay with the fact that they have been cashing in off of their early centralizing. But, as I said, that's not going to last forever right now, especially on a map like this. It's about to come to an end very soon. These teams are going to be fighting for their position inside the zone. And I mean, one thing that we know is that you can't really predict the zone. You can't really trust the zone to give you consistency. So you really have to fight your way through it. And at the moment, we've got Sincerity pushing straight on up towards C. Don't know if they saw this one coming, but certainly now they're going to be having to deal with it. And Sincerity instead just deal with them in very quick and clean a manner, taking them out, picking up the kills. 13 teams remaining, so we've got 2 or so teams that have already been taken off the board here, which is good to see as we head from zone 3. We're gonna have some spicy stuff on the horizon. I think there's gonna be quite a bit of fighting happening, especially towards the middle and the north of the zone. Brody, of course, as you mentioned, just on his lone wolf kind of vibe here. We'll see how long it can last.
Also zero.
Yes, in the middle of everyone.
He's just avoided everyone. He's still alive. I don't know. Obviously 4KT, they had to worry there about Unique, so they moved off. But now both Black Clover and Team Somalia are most likely going to be making a party right past zero, or into zero rather. So a lot of teams, down to 1 member to 2 members, especially. I mean, you saw that happening now. And with only 2 teams dropping out, but a few members here and there, it's so weird to see that a lot of these teams are going to be taking fights at a disadvantage from the get-go, just because they don't have their full team, their full squad ready and waiting to take the fights, which is unfortunate. But so far, I mean, if 4KT made it work, it's kind of just not an excuse. KHK finding a little bit of a shot there onto Young Thundercats. So with those rotations coming through, does look like Young Thundercats are a little bit split apart. I'm going to have to make that rotation back in to try and get the res, try and hold on to the situation, but have to be careful because Rila inside is also just behind them, as Unique, as is Team Somalia. Everyone's just so close. It gives me such a piece of anxiety there, and Broly is going to be running into Sincerity quite shortly, actually, and right after having to fend off the zone.
Yeah, I think his moments are numbered at this point. He's definitely going to get spotted out, and that's if he even makes it out of the blue zone at this point. And you can see as that zone does shift in, it shifts all the way in towards the middle, forcing all those outskirt teams to now move on through. Fear going to have to just evacuate boot camp, and the rest of the teams down towards the south west are going to have to move on up into that zone. And it is going to be uncomfortable as heck because these teams are all going to be pushing in from the same direction, and they're all going to be fighting for the same physical space inside that zone. And that's where the chaos starts to brew. 13 teams now in the next couple of minutes. That is going to be severely reduced bit by bit. These teams are going to find themselves falling one by one as they try and squeeze into this zone. It's not going to work too well, but I can tell you who's got an upper hand right now. We've got Unique, we've got 4KT, we've got BBC moving in, and now we've got Sincerity to try and challenge for that space. We've got KHK moving up on the Young Thundercats, so already we've just got some craziness happening as the teams try and squeeze inside that zone.
I have to give a shout out to Broly there, just making the trip for his team, trying to hold on to placement points as much as possible, fighting off that zone. But as you mentioned now, Sincerity and BBC going to have to take into consideration that there's a lot of teams around them. So when they begin this fight, I mean, 4KT, you can see just a hop and a skip away can get involved quite easily. But BBC making the move, finding 2, and now Sincerity all of a sudden down to a 2v4 situation here. Members trying to crawl into a safe place to get those reses going, but BBC, they are prepping nades. They are ready for this one and ready to take out Rogue Baby. He has to be careful, has to avoid those nades. Dodge and weave, my man. Dodge and weave. Oh, that nade. That could be it for the knocked players, and it does so much damage. Lord, just absolutely prepped with these nades and ready to push this. I mean, you can see the team is itching to get done with this fight and be prepared for the possible third parties that are coming their way. So far, they haven't really been taking any damage. But Broly as well, going to be rolling up just behind Sincerity. Might be able to grab a few kills there for Comfy 6 if they can manage it. Sincerity with 4 kills and getting that third res up and running. 3 to 4 at the moment, but that zone is going to put some pressure on them as it moves on. And 4KT have actually started fighting Sincerity. They're getting involved in this fight as well. They want a piece of the action. BBC ready to finish it off. One member just behind that rock. Just getting trying to get the raise in. Just trying to do something. But Rogue Baby now I can't see where this is going to be going, because if they try and push out of this, if they try and hold on, if they try and stay in the zone, either way, they're going to be running straight into a couple of bullets.
Yeah, and one nade could finish off their hopes and dreams right now as well. Easy does get res, but you can see those bullets are just flying in their direction, waiting for them to push up, and they don't have much of a choice because that blue zone is rolling on up, and you don't want to fight that. It's 4 zones deep. It's too much
Oh
damage.
no.
This could be the end of Sincerity, and it looks like it might just be Ez getting prepared for the final battle, but Lord is still on the corner. This rock does get taken down. Easy trying to push on up, trying to keep the hopes and dreams of Sincerity alive here, using the smoke as cover. Law now crawling up, ready to try and take the fight. A little bit of jumping shot damage coming through. 4KT also on the back line to just throw chaos in the ranks here. Turns his attention towards BBC. Lord does go down now. Kratos crawling through the grass, trying to keep himself out of danger. The zone has shifted up once again and threatening that blue zone 10 seconds before it moves on up. I'm not sure if BBC are prepared for this fight. 4KT seem like they just want to capitalize, pick up some kills. You're on our turf now, and this might just be the end for both of these teams right ahead. Kratos just running for the hills at this point. The rest of BBC trying to recuperate themselves as Easy running on up, dealing with the blue zone once again, prepping a nade, trying to stay alive, but I'm not sure if this is even possible. Turns his attention back towards the boxes, maybe looking for some meds, as the rest of BBC just trying to outrun the zone at this point. 4KT recouping a little bit of that HP as they turn their attention towards some of their other problems, as they also need to make the rotate up in towards the zone. 11 teams as Optimus gets taken down. 11 teams remaining, 28 players. Outcast getting taken out by that blue. And, well, the fight's just absolutely continuing as 4KT try and move back down through in that zone.
Oh, 11 teams. I mean, so many players now dropping, especially with the zone 5 layers deep. It really starts to chunk that HP. 4KT going to be finding themselves in it at exactly lag and Unique standing in their way to get into safety here. Oh, got an interesting little pop up there. Nice little bit of information coming through, but 4KT looking for the kills here, finding another there towards Team Somalia. 8 teams remaining, everyone just starting to drop like absolute flies. BBC also down to 1 member at the moment, trying to stay alive, but look at this advantageous position, getting a little bit of revenge. Perfect place to do it. BBC Nihal coming through and putting the final nail in the coffin for Slime 4KT as they go out in 6th. He gets revenge for his team. He manages to clutch it into 5th place, and now the question goes through, right? We've got KHK, we've got 1 lone member of BBC, we've got the team of Rila Insiders, and then who's the others? We've got Black Clover actually still in this. Wait, that's 4 teams. Don't tell me Broly's still alive. Is it Broly? No way, it's Broly, right?
So.
Okay, no, 4 teams. There it is. There it is. Oh, it was actually someone from Team Somalia. Oh no.
Oh man, we just have some crazy stuff happening right now. Pennywise looking to pick up some kills, takes a bit of damage instead, but they're at least keeping the Bastion up on the side of this zone. Strong Coco gets taken down. Black Crystals, no chance in heck that they're going to make it through. They just get absolutely pinned and perish immediately. 3 teams remaining as Nahal crawling up with that zone, trying to stay alive, but Nade's getting tossed by KHK to try and take him out. A little bit of damage, but it's not enough to knock him out of this game just yet. He's made sure that BBC claim at least a top 3 finish here, but can he claim any more than that? KHK not looking to take a fight with anyone else. They just want to wipe him out right now, which is probably the best move. That blue zone, of course, moving on up very slowly. Now, just getting caught out, runs behind a rock. Ooh, he is just barely alive.
Yeah, I mean, 7 layers deep of that blue zone, it really starts to chunk that HP. And I mean, as a lone member of BBC, has to be extremely careful with the amount of noise that he's making, how he's taking his angles. Because Rila Insiders with 4 members up, they want to take out KHK, but so far KHK have been so good at holding it. Get to find 1 member in the form of Roller, taking them out. And look how spread apart Rila Insiders are at this moment in time. Of course, Nihal, he's just staying quiet. He's not getting involved in this. He doesn't want to give up his position because he knows the moment he does, both of those teams are going to focus him. They have an angle on him. And at this moment in time, Rila Insiders, they're just putting the nails in their own coffins here. 2 to 3 in terms of this fight between Insiders and KHK. And so far, KHK have been so good Nihal just trying to hold on for that second place placement and try and get the most for his team, but is actually going to get involved here with some mollies going thrown in, nades, and now this blue zone once again been the thorn in the side of so many players and teams, and once again it's rearing its head to BBC. Nihal just trying to crawl in, but again, 7 layers deep. I don't think. Ooh,
He's
wow. Okay.
just alive. Holy moly, he's just barely alive. I don't think he has enough, to be honest. No, I think that's it.
He doesn't have
No,
mids.
there's no way he's going to make this out. So it's a 3 finish for them. But BBC just barely keeping themselves alive, managed that top 3 finish, and now it's down to a KHK versus Rila Insiders. And right now, Rila Insiders are the only one who are inside of that zone. KHK need to make sure that they are going to make their final push for the potential victory, because they don't have much of a choice. The nades are getting prepped, but Louis goes down before he can throw the final nade in the coffin. That could have ended, that could have changed the whole game, but instead, a brilliant nade from the Rila Insiders shut that down, and this is looking like an Insiders victory to be sure. Instantly, Louis goes down, Snurra goes down, and, well, that basically just ends the game right there. They had, I think, probably about a split second of difference right there. If that nade had gone through from KHK, that could have been a very different outcome. But instead, it's going to be the Rila Insiders picking up a chicken dinner.
With 7 kills there onto Zeke, 2 to Trip, 2 to Coco. I mean, they're going to be running away with some 11 kills. And the winner chicken dinner, they are racking up the points coming through in the second game. And I mean, I mentioned this, for some of the teams that unfortunately didn't get an opportunity to get those points on Erangel because 4KT was just going absolutely crazy. Here it comes through. But I mean, big shout out to Nihal there. Not only did he manage to take out Slime 4KT, get the revenge for his team, he also managed to just solo it out all the way to 3rd place for the team. Just absolutely brilliant work.
I think it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, that nade literally turned the tide of the game. Like, I watched it land, and like, you're right, Patchy, literally a split second, and would have been an entirely different story. Ladies and gentlemen, we have KHK taking the winner chicken dinner. Esproxy, is this one of the teams that just came up? Or is it a rebrand?
Again, everyone has rebranded, so I'm like trying to keep track of everyone. But so far, I mean, between C and KHK, they sound familiar when I look at the player names. But I can't be for sure.
So I think KHK is a team from Angola. I think they're definitely one of the new teams, or it was Rila or something. But anyways, we're going to be taking a look at the standings very shortly and get our numbers and our names correct so we don't confuse you guys. But you all have to agree that that map was definitely exciting. Looking at people trying to ride the storm, as it was said, with your painkillers and your health. Not realizing that, like you said, 7 layers deep. That is a really hard thing to do. You have to literally be taking those painkillers back to back to survive that particular situation. I'm going to ask, Patchy, who do you think is going to be the MVP for this particular match?
Well, I think that one player from KHK pulled like 7 kills, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's most likely going to be the MVP. I mean, pretty good job. Pulling up 7 kills is a pretty spicy a number to be pulling there. So obviously, I think probably picked up quite a bit of damage off the back of that too. So I'm guessing probably going to be at least either a player from KHK or maybe. I don't think anyone else actually got such a high level or number of kills, but in any case, we're about to find out what the standings look like. Rila Inside is going to be picking up 1st place, 26 points plus, the chicken dinner plus the 11 kills there. KHK, of course, coming in 2nd place. BBC making it up to 3rd with some tactically delayed rotations and some snaking. Of course, Somalia coming in there in 4th place with 13 points. Black Clover coming in with 9 points with 5. In 5th place, we've got Young Thundercats in 6th. With 7, as well as 4KT with 7 points in 7th place. Sincerity coming up in 8th with 5 points to round out your 1st page. And of course, moving on in towards the 2nd page of that leaderboard, we've got Comfy 6 with 2 points in 9. We've got Lag also with 2 points in 10. Team Unique, Rainbow 6, Madagascar, Ultra 6, all with 1 point in 11, 12, and 13 respectively. And of course, Fear and C Esports in 14 and 15 with nothing. So yeah, off the back of that game, it was quite difficult for a lot of these teams, a lot of difficult situations, but we also saw some game-changing grenades coming in at the end there. Certainly what we expect from a map like Sanhok. We still have one map coming up after this, which is going to be a totally different ballgame though.
Yeah, and it definitely
And it was.
but it was Rilla from in Zeke from Rilla. Oh, Zeke from Rilla Insiders. Yeah, sorry, I always have to remember that the gamer tags are usually written with the names as well, so you got to figure that out. So Zeke from Rilla Insider with 7 kills. You did call it patchy. 754 damage. Survival time of 24 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, as Patchy did mention earlier on, we do have one more map. Now we are going to be taking a look at the leaderboard at the end of all the maps today. But viewers at home watching right now, you can definitely take a look at what the leaderboard looks like during the breaks. We're going to be flashing to you some of the stats as we are on a break. So definitely watch out for that. Don't go anywhere. Don't go take a break as we're taking a break. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4, brought to you by none other than Nodwin Gaming Africa. I almost said season 3 there. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was literally just gonna say season 4. Season 4.
You need to get to that season 4 mindset, Dr. Sid.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with S-Proxy and Patchy, and we are bringing you all the action from the PUBG Mobile tournament. We have just had games 1 and 2 of day 1 go down, with Slime 4KT taking game 1 and Rila Insider taking game 2. Let's take a recap of the standings of game 2, Group A versus Group B. S Proxy, do you want to talk us through this?
Oh yeah, especially because we got two Nkosi teams at the top. That's something to consider. Rila Insiders coming through there with first place, the winner chicken dinner, and 11 kills with 26 points. KHK Esports Africa coming through in second place with 16 points. BBC doing better this time around, of course, thanks to Nihal making sure he was doing his absolute best to get through to that third place with 15 points. Team Somalia coming through in clutch at fourth place. Black Clover in fifth place. Young Thundercats staying alive in sixth place. Slime 4KT unfortunately went out quite early on there in seventh place. Sincerity Esports there in eighth, and that was your top 8 from that second game on Sanhok. Moving over to the next page, of course, some of the other teams didn't have so much luck. Comfy 6, I mean Broly there with the snaking of a lifetime trying to survive that zone coming through in clutch there in ninth place for Comfy 6. Lag Esports in 10th. Team Unique in 11th place. Rainbow Six Madagascar in 12th. And Ultra 6 Sphere and C Esports, unfortunately, between that 13th to 16th place point, they got absolutely nothing in that second game. But of course, one more map, one more opportunity that they can look at.
Yes, we do have one more map, one more opportunity for today, and that map is Miramar. And today, Patchy, you're going to be my map expert to sort of explain Miramar. You know, we're back for season 4. I know we have our loyal viewers back with us, but I believe we also have some new viewers who heard about season 3 and decided to join us for season 4. So, Patchy, could you just talk us through what Miramar looks like? I mean, they've seen games 1 and 2, so they have an idea what the gameplay is like. What does Miramar bring to the table as a map?
Well, Miramar is actually a map that a lot of teams from previous Umzansi seasons have said that they really like. It's a map they seem to be that seems to be a lot of comfort from a lot of teams on this particular map, and I think I'm actually inclined to agree with them on some. I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot more strategic gameplays and some interesting gunplay to come through as well, because Miramar is a very large map, but it's also a very open map. So you've got space, and you've got some very interesting play that comes in with the height, because it's a very big desert map. So you've got some hills, you've got some vertical differences, and there's a lot of long-range engagements that can take place, which is a lot different from some of the other maps, whereas you can have it on Erangel, it's not all the time. And of course with Sanhok, we've seen there's a lot of more close quarters engagement. You try and get long distances, and you really have to create those distances, whereas on Miramar, you don't really have to create them because they're just there. Those long-range engagements are just absolutely everywhere. You pick up a Mini 14, you pick up a sniper rifle, you just go absolutely ham on a map like this. And we've seen teams dominate on this map before. I have to call back to G3 Tempo, who have shown us some very interesting things on this map before. I think I can't get it out of my memory, actually. It's just like so crazy. We saw G3
Mountain.
getting up a mountain that we didn't even think
With a
was
buggy.
scalable. They just got to the top somehow, and they were able to take just everyone out who came past. It was just absolutely nuts. So there's some really cool things that can happen on this map. It feels really comfortable for a lot of teams that are really seasoned. So I expect this to be a map where a lot of our seasoned teams do succeed, but I'm also interested to see how some of the new teams do actually manage on this particular map, what they bring to the table in terms of that, because we have seen them bringing something new, although, you know, they're going to have to get used to how some of the crazy stuff happens on this one, because you can get sniped across the map on this on this particular map. You have to be really careful about the angles that you open yourself up to here. And yeah, I'm just ready for a really nice, strong closeout on this map.
Yep. So it's all about the angles. You know, watch your angles, watch your assets. As on this map, you could get sniped from anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, is the final game of day 1 of the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Nobin Gaming. We are playing PUBG Mobile, and I'm leaving you in the very capable hands of Patchy and S Proxy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. It's map number 3. It is Miramar. We've got a nice west to east flight path here going right off to Impala. And that's going to give them access to most of the southern portion of this map. Now, as you can see, we've got quite a large map, and this map is very deceiving. Especially in the early stages, when you look at a map, it's like, oh, look, these teams are right next to each other, but they're not. There's actually there's a huge distance in between them, which, if you haven't played this map before, if you're not familiar with the spacing that comes through, then it might just trip you up, might just trick you. But no, there's quite a bit of space for these teams to utilize here. And so one of the interesting things that has really come out of this map in particular is that you've got to make things happen. You know, you don't just suddenly stumble across everyone on the map. You know, unlike Sanhok, where you can walk around the corner and just come face to face with basically everyone. Here, you've actually got to go looking a little bit of the time, unless unless you've dropped next to a team or relatively close to a team, you can go looking for them. Otherwise, you really have to make things happen, and it does encourage teams to be active, which is what we really, really like. And hopefully, we start to see that. We can see the zone has dropped a little bit off to the east, so a couple of rotations will have to come through. But as we know, especially on a map like this, that first zone takes quite a long time to come on in, so the teams still have plenty of time to get their looting and yeah, get themselves ready.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of like, teams trying to seek each other out and, this sort of forcing them to be a little bit more active. I mean, we've had a very slow start for a lot of these maps so far. I mean, obviously now we've got 3 teams in the same area here, and they're all a little bit dispersed in between each other, so they might actually have to take that early on fight, which is interesting because in Miramar, it's a large area, so to see so many teams dropping on each other, I don't have that happen often, especially, after tonight, we've had such a slow start, teams well into, the zone, like to the 5th, to the 6th, to the 7th zone. That's where we really started seeing teams actually start fighting and finding each other. So now, bigger map, Patchy, which means more space for them to take their time in the looting phase to potentially be avoiding each other. Obviously, you see Ultra 6C and Young Thundercats aren't going to be avoiding each other much this time around. You can see Young Thundercats trying to push up here with Brennan here from C, just putting in the absolute shots of a lifetime here. And I mean, for the rest, as I mentioned, they're all so well dispersed within each other. So, I mean, Ultra 6, unfortunately, we're going to be losing Miyagi because Romeo is going to be here to finish him off. And for the rest now to rotate in to try hold onto the C, they're happy to take these kills. They're happy to push on in, take a little bit of cover, maintain some position here, and take ownership of these buildings as they get ready for the rest of the teams to push up for this early fight.
Yeah, it's a nice early fight too brewing here. We've got 3 teams in the tussle, pretty close to one another, and really actually just making their way up the stairs. The rest of the C team just pushing on straight up the staircase. Going to be laying down the fire and immediately picking up some kills on the backside. C trying to put in a couple of shots there, Ellie, on the back in the tower, but Superior just going to be watching and waiting. Takes quite a bit of damage, almost goes down, and Ellie actually just hasn't taken any damage at all. So have to be really careful about that positioning. They've got Lynx on the backside, though, could potentially throw a bit of a spanner in the works if he picks his moment correctly. Might just be able to take them down without them even realizing what's going on, but has to be careful because with 3 teams being in the area, obviously it's a bit of a chess game, where the pawns take each other out one by one. You've got to be careful that you don't get taken out. Superior going to get naded in the meantime as Mojo slam dunking a couple of the players there from Young Thunder and pushing up straight into their position. Now we've got C moving in on the back line as well to add their bullets into the mix. Superior goes down as Mojo laying down the fire with the AKM, making things happen, and in come the rest of C to try and add them into the mix and maybe pick up a couple of free kills. And indeed, down go Nukes and the rest of the team. The Snake Eyes pushes up, gets the kills, but instantly gets taken down by Wizard. And there it is, the chess game slowly resolving itself. And now I think that's both of those teams getting eliminated out of that area.
Down to 13 teams, it does look like this is starting off a little bit quicker. I think the teams have slowly but surely throughout the evening been getting a little bit more active, getting used to each other. And obviously, I mean, as Fate with had it, having all of those teams drop on the same area, it was bound to result in a couple of team wipes, and that's exactly what we got. So it's been an early and active start, and other than lag that we're looking at here, I mean, at least getting closer and closer to Sincerity, I don't know how many of those early fights we're going to be witnessing tonight because of just the sheer size of the map so far. I mean, they were managing to avoid each other on Sanhok, which is bizarre, up until the 7th and 8th zone. So to see it happen on Miramar, I don't know. Maybe it might be a complete wrench in the works, patchy, and everything we thought we knew about PUBG Mobile will be thrown out the window. But for the time being, Lag is going to be making a move there onto Sincerity, taking out Easy and looking for a little bit more. Zero, though, has to be careful because there is a member of Sincerity in the same building or really close to try and get some revenge here. Obviously, Aim and Rogue a little bit split up from the rest of the team. Easy and Inky just trying to hold on to this one as the rest of Lag are trying to get a little bit of numbers here. They are currently at a back foot with 3 to 4. So getting an early kill here would definitely help them in the long run, not only for points, but also for the rest of this fight. Rogue trying to throw a little bit of cover as the shots go through. Not connecting just yet. So Fantasy making up that distance. Easy coming through there with the rest, but it doesn't matter. Inky goes down, but Fantasy's not ready for the angle. Easy just around the corner, trying to play around the door, but it's not going to happen to go down. Lag now in a 3-2 situation here. They can get those kills, they can finish it off, and then focus on the last remaining members of Sincerity who are trying to not only regroup, but get closer and closer to Zero, who is currently isolated. It could be an early kill for them, and then they are on even playing grounds here, but closing the distance has been the main goal for both of these teams.
Yeah, they're just trying to make something happen there. We did see Fantasy making a pretty good job of that, pushing up on two of the players, taking one of them down and putting some pressure onto the other side. But as you mentioned, Zero is being left alone because of that venture. Luckily, One and Fantasy have retreated, going to regroup with the rest of the team, try and keep Zero alive. And Sincerity are trying to push up into his position. You can see that Molly just barely making it up into his location. Aimbot getting taken down there as he tries to push through the warehouse. Zero, so much damage, but just has to avoid that Molotov, making it outside of the compound. Just seeing if he could spot any of those engagements happening. Fantasy is just going to instantly swing on the outside and take them down. A very nice pincer action coming out from Lag, and they will take Sincerity out of the picture. And let me tell you, as Proxy, I think this is one of two things that we're seeing here with all of these early battles. Either it's going to be a throwback to what I said, where these teams have to make something happen, and so they drop close to one another to make those early fights happen a little bit quicker, or because it's our first match of the season, maybe they're still trying to contest for drop points. Who knows? At this point, it's good to see those early fights coming through. It's going to make things a little bit easier, a little bit more room to breathe for these teams moving forward and towards the late game.
Well, it could be that. It could be a little bit of a power struggle. Maybe some teams are trying to make a statement here, there, but as every single week they'll be coming back and every day they might be facing different groups. I think for a lot of these teams it could also just be an unfortunate circumstance, but I mean, we love to see it. It just means that the teams are being put to the test, and we really get to see why they've made it to the Umzansi Esports League, why they've gotten to this point, whether they came through from Incorsi, whether they had to survive that relegation, or they've been here since the beginning making statements. You can see some rotations coming through here. C hiding right behind Unique and actually managing to sandwich themselves between 4KT and Unique with, the rest. Umphy's here, the Fear's here, Unique is here. Everyone is just running into each other. The first zone hasn't even closed and we're down to 12 teams. This is, weirdly enough, this has been the fastest start on the largest map tonight. How does that work?
I have no idea, but leave it to PUBG to subvert our expectations here. The fights are just happening left, right, and center. Now it's up to Fear to put some shots in, and King is doing just that, finding a couple of hits in towards these players that are slowly encroaching. There's actually a couple of teams in this area, one on the back line. We've got Fenny potentially looking to put some third-party shots. In the meantime, Prime goes down as well as Exist. And Fear just trying to maintain control of the region. They're not having to worry about the blue just yet, but that will slowly start to come into play more and more as the teams continue to fight. But as you mentioned, it's great to see these fights happening so early. Very, very nice. Fenny continuing to put those shots across with the rest of the team here from Young Thunder. I believe, no, this is Comfy 6. Yeah, there we go. Comfy 6.
They're playing with your mind.
They are. They really are. You know what? This happens every season, man. This happens every single season. These teams just mess with my mind every single time. Like, I'm not the smartest guy around. I'm not going to remember all this shit, man. It's too many tags. They change it too much. But in any case,
Too
I'm gonna
much.
stop complaining about that because it happens. This is what it is. But you know what? Just if you wanna be kind to old man Patchy, like say just give me a little bit of grace. It's game one. I'm not gonna remember everything straight off the bat. Give me a little bit of time. But for the moment, we've got Azuri just absolutely running into the compound here, laying those shots straight on through. Popping a quick, can of energy drink because he's a real gamer and you need to keep your gamer juice flowing. But Fear is going to get taken out in the meantime. 12 teams remaining as Outcast and Swag's going to have to try and retreat. I think Hulk might just be done for in that sense. Fenny still just putting the shots in from this house. Like, has not been flushed out whatsoever. No attention in that direction. Sorry, now in a little bit of a difficult situation behind a cactus. Smoke is going to get popped. Outcast going to be running and jumping straight into a car rolling down a hill and is going to continue to, we'll just muck about with the rest of Fear because, of course, I think Hulk has been taken down in the meantime. So Outcast and Swag's last one here for Fear. They might just have to retreat out of this one. I don't think they have a good spot here, and I think they agree, with that compound being taken and with Comfy 6 on the back line. I don't think they're going to find any room to breathe in that particular region. They're just going to have to get out of that spot. 4KT rolling up on the back side, though, might just catch out a couple of those teams trying to escape this very difficult situation right above Los Leones. They're going to find quite a few teams waiting for them, so maybe this is going to be easy pickings for them. They're just going to pick out player after player, get themselves some free kills. Who knows? For the time being, up in the north, also looking pretty packed around San Martin. Their BBC rolling up lag as well in that vicinity. But 4KT not ready for the amount of resistance that they are currently meeting. One player goes down, and the rest of 4KT going to have to regroup and try and take this fight. But I mean, of course, 4KT, I expect them to win this one. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if Fear, coming off the back of an already bad fight for them, can actually make this work.
Well, it would be a miracle if 4KT can make this work. They are down to one member trying to get that res popped off, and there comes the thirst coming through. 1995 out for the count as Fear are just slowly but surely, quite cautiously, trying to push on through. It's Zeus that's up. It's fixed that I think the res did come through, so trying to pop off some mids as they get ready for this. It's a 2-3. Hulk actually, of course, trying to just rotate on around end the vehicle, see if they can get a flanking position here, but Outcast goes down to Zeus, holding the line for his team in this 2-on-3 scenario and going for the kills just to add that final salt to the injury. Staying alive, it is Vex. Just holding and waiting for it, and they have actually managed to do so because C got involved and got the final member of Fear took them out. So somehow, some way, by the grace of third parties, 4KT are staying in this one. What's interesting to see, of course, is that zone coming through and deciding to just say sorry. Well, not really sorry, but sorry, not sorry to the rest of the teams, and being quite cheeky, picking the most annoying spot to go to for most of these teams. So those rotations are going to have to happen quite early on. You can see Todoroki there from Rainbow Six still managing to snake it on out and stay in the game, potentially go for some placement points, just staying towards the outside of that zone, with the rest of the teams trying to find a little bit of safe haven there towards Carter, maybe just towards the left there of Los Leones, but rotations definitely need to happen. Is that Black Clover going out of the zone?
It is that.
Yep.
That is exactly what it is. Yeah, you're bang on right there. I'm not too sure what the thinking behind that is. Maybe they're going for a bit of a road trip.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're following the road.
Yeah,
Look, it's the safest
that's
place.
How you do it.
They don't
Follow
know
the
what
yellow
we
brick
know,
road.
that there's no one there. That they could just go through the city, but they don't know that. They don't know that. So
You know what?
I mean,
we like the scenic route. We like the scenic route. The scenic route is great. You get to see a lot of cool stuff. I mean, yeah, cool. While they go on a road trip, the rest of the team is going to be moving inside the zone. Most of them all the way on the rim. Actually, the perimeter of that zone is going to look very, very busy, especially up towards the north where BBC is currently contesting. We've also got the Comfy 6 moving down. Wizard gonna have to be careful here. Not much cover except for a little bit of a hillock, so at least they have that to fight over, but they have to be careful. True, with that Mini 14 could tear through their HP very, very quickly, and certainly looking to do so. But can the Company 6 find those angles? Can they find the damage coming through? BBC also getting contested now as Kratos goes down there in the kill feed, getting taken out by Benji. So the fights are certainly breaking out up here in the north, and things are certainly going to continue in that way as well. We've got 11 teams, 36 players left alive on this map. Things are going to start to heat up more and more as that blue zone closes in and the space starts to run out more and more for these teams. It's not going to get any easier from here on in, certainly as that blue is going to be less and less forgiving. Going to be doing more and more damage. You're going to have to be careful, Beast. Get some nice shots in towards Law. Should get the thirst here as well, and indeed will be able to do so just in enough time to get through out of that blue zone in the nick of time with just under 50 HP remaining, still alive. So Law does get taken down. For luck, also going to fall, which might be the end of BBC. Now, Hell's the last one left, but he's left stranded out in the blue zone, and in order to get through, he's going to have to push through quite a couple of teams. Now, as that zone has rotated just a little bit more to the south, things have become more difficult for those players up north because they have to rotate further.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Comfy 6 here finding themselves in an unfortunate situation. Rila trying to move up on end, trying to find some kill points here. Taking a little bit of damage though. Squeak does go down, but Broly is there to do some damage back and is determined to not be a lone member once again, to stay in this as much as possible. As we look at it, the rest of the team's now trying to go on in, and Unique actually finding a bit of an angle there onto Black Clover, but getting punished almost immediately. So as it goes, the fourth zone is closing on in, and we are finally seeing all of those third parties, all of those fights across the map now breaking out, and everyone just trying to stay alive. Comfy 6 though taking a lot of damage here as Rila just tries to push on in and get those final shots. It's not looking too good for Comfy 6 though. They're taking so much damage, and that will be them going out in 11th position. But of course, Rila Inside is going to be picking up some kill points and going to be very happy with that team wipe. Just making those numbers a little bit more palatable as we head into some of the final zones here. But those rotations have to happen here. Todoroki for Rainbow Six still managing to stay alive and just to stay in this fourth placement points, and 4KT running with 2 members holding on in. Ooh, it does look though like Black Clover have found themselves in a bit of a precarious situation here against against C Esports, sorry. So I mean, looking at it now, for the rest of them, they've managed to, med up, some bandages in, haven't quite yet popped those meds or popped those energy drinks to just get that full health back, and the nades are still popping. So it's just not looking so good for Black Clover as they try and hang on. They do have zone advantage, but not for long, as C has basically just said, hey, we're just going to go for this. We're feeling good. We've already knocked down 2. We've knocked down 3. It's only 1 member remaining. That's just trying to run away, trying to survive. And C Esports have just said no.
Man,
It's not this time.
What an unrelenting assault coming out of C Esports. They just had no mercy, man. That's cold. That is cold. They just eliminated Black Clover one by one. Didn't give them a chance to breathe. Didn't even give them a chance to move or budge or med up. Nothing. Just eliminated one by one. And that seems to be what 4KT are planning right here once again as they come up against Exist, who needs to make a very difficult decision. Does he go for the res, or does he take the fight? Well, Zeus might just make that choice for him as that nade is getting prepped. The blue zone starts to come through. Might just be the end for them. That's so much damage done. Yeah, Exist just has to get out of there as soon as possible, leaving his friend to die. No man left behind. Well, it looks like they will have to leave some players behind at least, and 4KT can't tussle with this. The HP is looking pretty okay, and Zeus does make it into the zone just in time. Almost gets caught out there. Grenade in hand, but now whips out the gun. Too much damage done already. No HP to survive the shot. So Exist will find the hits. 4KT is going to come to the rescue, though. Fex trying to save him for the time being, though. Has to be careful. Exist dancing on the edge of death right now. The HP not looking too good. A little bit of damage done, but looks like the res will come through for 4KT, which is super, super important considering 4KT has been playing with about 3 players all day so far. So they're already on the back foot in terms of that. They have to keep their numbers as best they can. So that res is going to be super, super helpful. Zeus trying to juice up that HP once again, and we'll be able to get out of there for the moment. The question is, are they going to re-engage in towards Exist, or are they just going to get the heck out of there?
I mean, they could just get into zone and then wait. The damage has been dealt, so no, I think they got it. They knew that nade was landing, so they're going to go for that final thirst. Take out the last remaining member there of Unique, and then move on in and focus on the rest of the match. 7 squads left as we look at it. Lag, of course, down to what looks like 1 member, just trying to stay alive into this. Team Somalia quite happily getting into zone right next to KHK Esports, along with C Esports and Rila Insiders. Sorry, I wanted to say the original name, but with Rila Insiders coming through as well, our teams are looking quite interesting. It's I mean, in terms of the rotations that we're seeing here, 4KT a little bit split apart, but trying to hold on to as much space as possible, keep as much information in their back pockets if they need it. And now, I mean, Rila Insider is going to be rolling right in between C and 4KT. So some damage being dealt as they try and hold on to this one. But in terms of cover, they're going to just focus on the bridge line there. KHK, though, might be coming to their rescue here with the knock onto C.
This is a very interesting situation. We have had 2 chicken dinner winners so far today. One of them has been 4KT, the other one has been the Rila Insiders. And we've got both of those teams going head to head right now, super close. So they might just be able to eliminate one another. Not to mention the absolute merciless team there from C Esports is right here with them, ready to lay in the damage. So these guys are in a really, really difficult position. They chose a very tough spot to rotate up into, and they might just pay for it. So the Rila Insider is going to have to be very, very careful. They've got 2 teams to worry about, and they are 2 heavy-hitting teams right now, at least in today's games. And, well, they've got to try and manage that situation with the blue zone closing up once again. We're about to see the zone shift. We'll see where it goes. We're 6 zones deep, or at least 5 moving in towards 6, just as it closes in. I can see the pressure rising here, especially once that zone moves across, and indeed, these teams will all have to rotate. That is a horrible task ahead of all 3 of these teams. C Esports have a pretty good numbers advantage, which means they might just be able to rotate super quick, which it looks like they are choosing to do, but 4KT and the Rila Insiders have to go toe-to-toe to decide who is going to be able to rotate away safely. 4KT, they have a good spot inside zone because it's nice and close to them, so they can pull back and still have a spot. The question is, are they going to be able to turn around with the Rila Insiders on their back and with the rest of the teams trying to rotate through? You can see already C Esports on the north side of that zone rolling on up. KHK laying down the fire into them, and C just getting knocked out, absolutely wiped off the board, as KHK are not looking to go home just yet.
Yeah, with the last remaining members, the last remaining teams that only had 1 member alive, they've been taken out. It was Lag, it was Rainbow Six, done and dusted. They are out for the count. Now the other teams, I mean, with C going down, unexpectedly KHK coming through and joining the party at the right opportune moment. It does look like we're going to have quite an interesting fight here. Of course, 4KT going to be quite peaceful at the moment because they're quite far from the rest of the teams as they rotate towards that top spot. Really Insiders, though, and Team Somalia with the rest of KHK, they are so close to each other that they're going to have to just take that fight. Whereas 4KT, they could just stay on this ridgeline with their snipers, take a couple of pot shots, maybe steal a few kills here and there, maybe just add some more damage to the pot, but then just watch it cook up and wait for the rest of the teams. Though you can see they're Benji just trying to get that angle on the 4KT. They've been so good as basically the duo for the last few fights. But right now they are holding on and they are not staying out of this. They are getting involved in these fights as much as they can at the moment. But what's concerning, what should be concerning for the rest of these teams is the fact with KHK, I mean, they're basically unscathed. They've got all of their members, all 4 of their members ready and waiting for their opportunity to get involved in this. And they've been quiet so far. Other than the rotations with the cars, they haven't been getting involved. They've just been waiting. Oh, but Team Somalia, look at the angle that they've got. They could surprise KHK at any moment.
What a difficult situation there. KHK, they look like a bastion right now. They've got the numbers, but can they translate that into a win? Because, I mean, that could be a free win for KHK if they play their cards right. But if they make a mistake, if they slip up, if we see Kingman getting those angles, they might just find themselves getting knocked out way sooner than expected. 4KT, of course, still a force to be reckoned with despite their numbers disadvantage. And we're still waiting for the Rila Insiders to make something happen. Kingman juicing himself back up, but he is caught out in the blue zone, which is not where you want to be right now. So deep, it does too much damage. Whereas KHK now on the back line, they are still inside the zone, or at least very close to it. Kingman's still trying to play this game. He might just be able to make it out, does juice himself back up to full health, but he has to make the dash into the safety, and I don't think he can make that happen, especially with the Rila insiders watching his every move right now. He's trying to play this waiting game, but I don't think it's going to work out for him. And indeed, Kingman will get spotted out and taken down by 4KT. I'll just pick up that free kill, no problem. We're in our top 3 teams right now. KHK, we've got 4KT as well. Zeus putting in some shots towards KHK. That's so much damage right there. Despite their numbers disadvantage, 4KT are still a force to be reckoned with. These guys cannot be counted out. They cannot be disregarded, because that accuracy, that disgusting amount of damage that they pump out by themselves is just absolutely ridiculous. Fex and Zeus just looking to tear into these other teams like it's nobody's business. Rila insiders just huddling up into the shack to try and keep themselves alive. Zeke will find a nice little angle there and use the play zone to help get some elims. The question is, who is going to break out? We've got 4KT, we've got the Rila Insiders, and we've got KHK. One of these teams is going to be getting the chicken dinner. Who is it going to be? It looks like the Rila Insiders are under a lot of pressure right now. One of their players has been knocked, so that's going to be using quite a bit of meds to get them back up. And, well, it's a little bit of a war of attrition, but who's going to get the courage to move on in? It's 4KT. Of course, it has to be 4KT. They're just going to run straight on in. They don't care. They're going to move up on the Rila Insiders and just put that pressure on, but maybe they've bitten off more than they can chew. Vex so low on HP. He's just going to get instantly clapped back, and now it's the Rila Insiders versus KHK. Rila pulling through just by the skin of their teeth. Now they're going to have to go head-to-head with KHK, who have a great angle and a little bit of cover to work with. This might just be the end. KHK could pick up a victory here. One knock down and towards Zeke, and Trip going to fall next as well. That is going to be KHK picking up the chicken dinner for map number 3. Whew.
Well, a little bit of revenge coming through there between KHK and Rila Insiders. They had the do-over from match 2, and this time it was KHK that came out on top to take the winner chicken dinner. So, I mean, they're going to be quite happy with that one. Going to get a little bit of revenge, going to get those points on the board, of course. And, I mean, as 2 teams from Nkosi, I think they just need a handshake and be like, yeah, you know what? We did pretty good today. We did pretty good today.
Ladies and gentlemen, swap between number 1 and number 2 from game 2. It is KHK taking the winner chicken dinner, with Rila Insider taking the second place. And of course, Slime 4KT coming up with a certain level of consistency to be among the top points to see if they can stay in the top positions at the end of day 1. Patchy, for you, what was your highlight of that final game?
Oh, that final game, it has to be that. It literally has to be the last maybe like minute to 30 seconds where 4KT just decides, you know what, we're just going to YOLO it in. I mean, that confidence oozing from them was just ridiculous. And I mean, they have the ability to back it up, but unfortunately, they did indeed bite off a little bit more than they could chew. And they got taken out by the Rila Insiders, who did a really good job in managing that push. The fact that they were able to come out of that one, was impressive. Although KHK did manage to have the upper hand in that one due to their, positioning and the cover they had. But man, those last moments were just absolutely nuts.
Proxy, are you going with the same moments, or do you have something else that was a highlight for you today?
I think it's sort of the highlight of the entire evening. You know, we had so many members, so many players that unfortunately got put into a situation where they were the lone member of their team quite early on. And I mean, the determination that they managed to take it. I mean, I remember Broly just suffering in that Sanhok zone. We had so many teams, from the first map to the second to the third, all the way to the end, really carrying their team for placement points, making sure they focused on that goal and staying alive. So,
and now we are taking a look at the standings for Game 3, Group A versus Group B. Ez, you want to talk us through this one?
Once again, Umzansi Esports comes to the top there with KHK and Rila Insider once again finding themselves in the top 2 spots, but this time around it's a little bit swapped. KHK Esports coming through with 24 points with the winner chicken dinner and 9 kills to top it off with. Rila Insider did manage to get more kills, but unfortunately with those 12 points they find themselves in second place with 22 points. Slime 4KT, as you mentioned, Patchy, were doing some crazy damage and had the confidence to boot. But that final little bit of a section did not go their way. See Esports in 4th place. Team Somalia holding on in fifth place there, thanks to Kingerman. Lag Esports in sixth, Rainbow six, Madagascar in seventh place, BBC rounding up the top eight of the last game of the first day of season four. When we move on to the second board, we can see Team Unique in ninth place, with Fear in 10th, Ultra 6 coming through in that 11th place there, and Black Clover, Comfy 6, Sincerity Esports, and Young Thundercats rounding up the final teams for the final map of the day. And it's been a weird one with the MVP coming through from Rila Insider. Patchy, you want to take it?
Yeah, it's really Insiders a nice consistent performance today. I think they've managed to make it into top two twice at least today. Maps number 2 and 3, of course, they did manage a chicken dinner as well out of those two, so that's really good for them. As you mentioned, some teams really stepping it up today and showing us that they can definitely be tussling among some of the top teams here in Umzansi. 7 kills coming out for Zeke, 658 damage done, 24 minutes 41 seconds survival time there. Which is quite an impressive number. But I mean, just for a little bit of scale and perspective, this is day number 1. We've seen 3 matches, and I just want to remind you that we just watched Slime 4KT play a 3-man, 3 games in a row, and in the last game, play a duo all the way up to top 3 spot. And this is most likely a 4KT that's probably like playing on the toilet or something like that. We're going to be ramping it up as the season continues, and as soon as Slime 4KT start to pick up the earphones and get into this, we're going to see them really shredding. Because if that's what 2 or 3 of their players can do, then man, they're just going to be dominating for the rest of this season if they keep up performances like that. And on the flip side, of course, with players like teams like Rila Insiders and KHK really stepping it up, and even C and Team Somalia, coming through with some pretty good numbers. I'm seeing some pretty good competition in the future.
Yes, and we are seeing the overall leaderboard right now. Patchy, talk us through what we're looking at here.
Yeah, of course, it's Rila Insiders in slot number 1, coming off the back of some pretty good, consistent performance from them. 53 total points for them. Of course, it has to be Slime 4KT in second place at the moment with 48 points. Just styling their way in second place, no problem. KHK coming in 3 with 40 points. We've got C Esports in 4th place with 33 points. Team Somalia in 5 with 29. We've got Black Clover coming in 6th place with 27 points. BBC in 7th position with 21. Young Thunder in 8th position with 14 points. And of course, moving on into that second page, it's Sincerity Esports heading up 9th position with 14 points, as well as Fear and Team Unique with 12 points each in 10th and 11th position. Ultra 6 and Lag Esports in 12 and 13 coming in with 10 points apiece. And of course, Comfy 6. That's going to be beating me every single time. 14th position with 8 points. Rainbow 6 Madagascar with 5 points at 15. And Aatrox, of course, haven't played yet, so they're going to be heading down into 16th position with 0. Along with the rest of the teams that have not yet played. Of course, it's only day number 1, so we haven't seen every single team just yet. But if you stick around for the rest of the season, you certainly will be seeing what the rest of the teams have to offer.
And you don't want to go anywhere because, like Patchy said, this is just day 1 of the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. And at this point, I always have to say, if you aren't following Nordwind Gaming on all our socials, you need to do so right now because you don't want to miss all the action. And we also advise you to go check out nordwindgaming.africa, brand new website with all the information on the Umzansi Esports Leagues and the Inkosi Cups, as well as other tournaments. You need to go check that out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great time. We will see you tomorrow again at the same time for some more action in the PUBG Mobile Tournament. FIFA Tournament will be starting much later after the switch over to FIFA 22. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Dr. Sid, S Proxy, and Patch saying good night and see you tomorrow.